a conversation as to why Upland is the future of the metaverse.
Sounds very official.
I like that. You sound like Rachel Ray.
Can the worst show ever go a fish? We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Why not? Let's try something.
All right. So run that by me again. What was
it? So why Upland? Why do you think Upland is the future of the metaverse?
Okay, cool. All right. So that's our starting off point, is it? All right. So how are we even going to possibly begin this conversation?
There's so many ways. There's so many ways. It's hard to begin it. God, like we could start out with, we're not attached to a token. We're not, our value is not based on whether or not Bitcoin takes a dive. And we talked about Bitcoin
at the start of the show. Yeah. Well, we are the Whine and Cheese show. This show started because we cover both sides of things. We're not all roses and puppy dogs and ice cream. So yeah, originally I was one of the people way back when that was kind of pushing like this needs to be on an exchange. And as we've seen with recent history, it is definitely a case of thank God nobody listened to me, because yeah.
exactly. Because like you don't really know what you want in such a new space, and what you do want may not be good for the future of the space. So like if you don't get what you want, don't cry about it. Just go to something else.
Now, one of the opportunities of the Upland Metaverse is that you can begin and get engaged for free. You can start this process for free. Cheese, can you buy property in Decentraland and the Sandbox Exchange for free?
No, you cannot.
Could you buy a chunk of the Facebook Meta platform for free?
Not to my knowledge.
not as somebody who wants to build stuff in there or own property or anything like that. No, those are just kind of extensions of a social media platform that's already there. Now, the main ones that we can compare ourselves to, if I can call ourselves, meaning us and Upland sort of thing, is Sandbox and Decentraland. They're the big ones. Now, entry points for those are in the thousands, tens of thousands in some cases. So entry point into Upland is free. You can sign up if you're lucky enough that you've seen it before you sign up. You would have jumped on somebody's referral code. You know, we've got our referral codes in the links in the description. Most of the other content creators have, referral codes. You can get yourself, what is that? I think that's a bonus. Gosh, I think it might be, you might start off with 6,000 UPEX. Maybe it's 4. I don't remember, but it's a decent chunk anyway. And if you wait for a city release, and with the Fair Start Act, the FSA system, you can very easily get yourself maybe 4 to 5 properties, depending on how you work the collections. Those early collections, the King of the Street, the City Pro. If you're savvy enough to be able to work those out, you should be able to get yourself 4 or 5 properties for free. Zero money spent.
Yeah. And then that leads us into another great
Are we jumping
thing.
straight away? We're jumping. I'd like to hang on the tokenomics a bit.
Tokenomics, longer. All right.
If that's all right.
All right. So I'll give my point at the end.
Okay. So yeah, you can get involved for free. That's you can't do that in the other metaverses as like a owner. It's not even an option as far as I'm aware. I'm happy to be corrected if I'm wrong. Right, so you can buy, sell, trade. You can upgrade that account. You can get all of these different bonuses if you're engaged and you're savvy and you get engaged with the community. There's lots of options available there. You can get to the point where you can sell out for USD. So there is a prospect, and you look like you're frozen. No, you're just concentrating. There is a prospect where you could get involved for free, and then you could sell. If you just wanted to, you could cash out for US dollars, and you might make $50, $100.
But this is different than tokenomics.
Well, I'm getting there. I'm leading there. So you could do that, and there's a lot of FUD in the community now where, the property values are down. We've seen the prices in Chicago very recently were at the $3 USD floor. Well, what would the value of those property be if we were tied to a token on an exchange and we're in a bear market? you'd be talking about those properties are now worth fractions of a cent. Whereas because we're not tied to any crypto tokens, it is stable. The only instability we kind of have is that play between the UPX price and what the USD price sells for. That's kind of our tokenomics. Yeah. I know you're all about tokenomics. So what's your take on that whole angle?
I'm glad we're not on a token, especially because of what we talked about with Bitcoin.
Yep. All right. Now, before I interrupted you, what's your next one?
Yeah, you did. Speaking of the FSA community, so community, we have the best community, and this leads from the tokenomics point where your point of getting in for free. If you do your research and you do everything great and you get into the Discord, you get into the cafe, you will see that people there really want to help, and you will see that people really do reach out to new players to purchase their FSA properties. So you will always be able to sell that. If you get into a standard collection and you buy like the 3 you need, or 4, whatever, how many, and then you buy 1 extra, someone's going to buy that from you for a decent price, and there you go. You just keep buying and buying, and that takes great community. And with community, you have a good community, you have ease of networking, you get friendships and partnerships. This is where you start building your name, your brand. I'm gonna, because I see people saying, oh, nobody wants to partner with me, nobody wants to partner with me, oh, woe is me. Like, you can't be someone who expects an already established partnership to say, hey, come on in. First of all. Second of all, you need to have something to offer, whether it's bookkeeping, you just take the amount sold, put it in a nice spreadsheet and have it ready for the business owner, whether it's artistic thing, whether it's marketing, bringing people in. There's so many things that you can offer as a package, and don't expect an already established partnership. Create your own partnership. Look out there, look for your artist, look for your bookkeeper, look for your business person. The community is amazing, so you will not have a hard time.
There's a lot of the FUD that I see that kicks around within the Upland community is a lot of people want the juice without the squeeze. They want all of these rewards, but they don't want to put in much of any effort. So, it's a bit of a interesting situation. And I guess that's, should we dive into that whole, a consumer versus a producer angle yet, or do you want to hold off on that? Because
we could get into that, sure. Yeah.
Because this is the Upland. One of the strengths of the Upland metaverse is that both of those opportunities are available there. Now, if you want to just play Upland as a kind of a monopoly on the blockchain, passive sort of person, you can most definitely do that. Is there a whole heap of stuff to get you and keep you engaged from just a purely consumer angle? Well, there's definitely room to say at present, no, there's not a lot to do there. What are you going to do? Treasure hunts and a few tools and this, that, and the other thing. It's that's a fair point. However, on the flip side, we are famously still in beta. There are so many things still under construction, as far as like Dak just did an interview with Upland about the URL, but then there's a lot of stuff kicking off with that. We've just signed up to be gold sponsors, 2 gold sponsors. We're sponsoring via the Samurai Aquatics and the UDU. And I've also worked through the URL is setting up their 1-year anniversary. We've also put prizes up in the name of Samurai Aquatics and UDU as well. We're more than happy to sponsor all of those sorts of events. So, there is a lot of stuff in the background that's being worked upon. And it goes back to your point. If you want to be just a pure consumer, yeah, maybe there's not a lot for you to do at present. And that's a fair enough play.
Yeah.
If you want to,
you could be a consumer and collect and wait for the future. But, and that leads to another point. Is earning an Upland easy? No, it's not. But if you put the work in, you're going to earn a lot of money, like Ben and I and D-Tech did. Like, we put in the work. If you see yourself being, how do you say, successful in anything, no one's going to give you anything, right?
Yeah, you got to put the work in.
Exactly. Like that, and that'll lead to a con later on, but you have to put the work in. You have to have an idea or many ideas. Not all of them are going to work. I mean, look at the network. Like, what was Ben's first great idea with the nodes? Like, we still have things to do, but his thing was neighborhood ratings, right? It looks like neighborhood ratings may not go our way. It probably definitely won't go our way, but we evolve and adapt, and we made it something else. You know, you can't cry. You can't cry because things aren't going your way. You evolve. You put the work in. You get the meta-venture. If you can't get a meta-venture, set up a spatial for your stuff. Do you have stuff that you sell on the side? Do you have this? Do you have that? Upland is the platform for it.
Yeah, and it does need to come with a healthy dose of patience, and you can't just expect everything to fall in your lap all of a sudden. Like, famously, we waited 2 years from the time that I was approved, for the outdoor decor business. It was almost 2 years before we actually officially opened. Now, we've been open for, well, it's the 11th of March here today for me. I think our first outdoor decor sale was the 12th of March. So what's that, 4 months? November? No, our first outdoor decor sale was November. So November, December, January, February, March. So 4 months we've been open. In that 4 months, we have, now you did the math on this the other night, we have sold almost the equivalent of 20 million UPEX in user-generated content. So if I wonder, it'd be interesting to work out on a, because we're in a 3-way partnership that all gets divided 3 ways. There's fees involved, of course, and we have put just an absolute shitload of hours into this to get to that point.
I was up until 3 a.m. last night working on one tiny little piece on the side of a cushion that you probably won't even be able to see completely.
So yeah, the possibilities are limitless depending on what effort you want to put in. I know you're a gamer, so that's your kind of background, but you came into this as a kind of classic halfway between a gamer and an investor sort of thing. So
I came in more as an investor. To me, Upland is not a game.
I guess both of our experiences are different. Yeah, well, depends how you want to talk about it. For me, it still very much is. Like, I came into it purely from a gamer perspective, but I have a history of building communities around mobile games. So I don't know. It's one of those things where you put the effort in for what you want to achieve. I still think there is a fair argument that if you're just a pure consumer and you want to play the Upland game, that at present there may not be a lot for you to do.
Well, and then like for me, also events. Upland holds in-person events around the world. This June, we'll be going to Genesis Week in Vegas. There's also another event in San Francisco with the where they're going to give that money thing.
The GDC, the Game Developers Conference.
Yeah.
Now,
and
that's the one.
They might do NFT NYC again. Go ahead.
Yeah, the GDC, that's one of the things that I used to FOMO about when I was doing game development back in the day. That's a really awesome conference. It's absolutely massive. All of the indie gamers and some of the AAA games, it's a massive thing over there. So that's very cool if you can get involved. Yes. Anything else? Why else is Upland the future of the metaverse?
Nope. I could think of a con to bring up.
Okay.
All right. So the one con of Upland, in my opinion, this is my opinion, so don't get butthurt. If you're lazy and you think people are just going to give you money for nothing, Upland is not for you. Upland is a place for patience, hard work, and make a name for yourself. Whether it be, Ben and I went and did a show for over a year, maybe, over a year before Upland even noticed us. We could have got mad at it. We could have been fudders, but we didn't. We stuck with it. We had a vision. We knew what we wanted to do. And eventually, we started paving our way through it all. And the Meta Ventures finally came through. Could that have fallen as well? Sure. We would have just adapted and seen what else we could have done. But you can't just expect things to be given to you. You can't expect a game that's in beta to completely follow everything they put out exactly. Things change, they change because they have to, because the future, the founders has a different idea of what they see, right? So I know that Upland does listen, because they do watch the general chat, they do watch the cafe chat, and they see they will make changes. You don't have to FUD on them in public, on Twitter. That's just hurting your investment. And investment is just a word that I like to use personally. I know they meant it in a different way. That was another butthurt story, but I'll digress.
Yeah, I guess it depends what your underlying motivations are. Like, yeah, we started shows way back when, but our motivation wasn't to make money to get, to get out there. Our motivation was to just expand on what we're doing and to have fun. The Upland community, although it is by far the largest and most active metaverse community that's out there, I think we're 67,000 unique active wallets for the week or something like that. That's miles above any other metaverse, unless you want to say that Roblox isn't officially a metaverse or something like that, because then that would smoke Upland. But it's very active, engaged for the community. And I forget the point that I was going to make, but what was I talking about?
Roblox.
Yeah.
Well, so I think Roblox has its place. Upland has its place. Roblox has its place.
Yeah. So it's that's what I was going to say. So like, you can't come into this and say, okay, I'm going to start a YouTube channel and put out all of this content, and I'm going to that's going to be my job. The community is way too small for that. And if you don't have the patience to write it out, and your motivations are to have fun and put content out there, if your motivations are financial, you're gonna fail, because you're screwed from the get-go. So it may get to that point somewhere in the future if you continue, as you said, to continue to put the work in, to put the grind in. But I felt like you were channeling Sarah Connor vibes there. You're almost saying the future is not yet written, Cheese.
The Sierra Connor, come with me if you want to live. Come with me if you want to succeed in Upland.
Yes.
I'm gonna give Upland Daily a shout out, even though I don't completely like the FUD, the little bit of FUD. They could do that a little better. I feel like they are evolving. Like, I talked to Cafe in there, and I talked to a lot of people in there, and they do seem to be getting a little more excited. You see superstars like Elijah in there, you see Impasta in there, the agency. It's really cool. And remember when I was like, we need more articles, we need more people writing stories, we need this, they bought it. They took it to that level. Like if you don't know what to do, people will tell you what to do. People will say, look, we have shows, we just need something that people can read, something really fast that can kind of give you a nice conclusion of the day. Go in that direction. There's so many ways to do it. You don't have to do it like them. You could write a Medium article. You could become article like professional and whatnot, and article famous. Like, I can't wait till this person's article comes out, and this and that. You could talk to people, get their take on it, talk to Upland. Like, people will be more available to talk to if they know it's going into an article rather than they have to spend time going on a show.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I think well, I was going to say FUD is important, but that's not the correct way to word it. Critical feedback is important, but it's all about the way that you deliver it. No,
I agree.
Now, I'm going to say that I believe that the number one reason why the Upland Metaverse is the future of the Metaverse is because of the accessibility and accountability that we have with the founders and all of the upper management and that sort of thing. Like, what other Metaverse platform, the founders of that go on just like random YouTube channels? Like, we haven't reached out to try and interview Dirk and Idan, but I'm sure that they'd be open to it. We kind of like to fly under the radar a bit, but we have had we prefer to focus on the peripheral people like Lisette, who's a community manager and stuff like that. Now,
I would be open for X1 to contact us and say, hey, I'd like to come on your show, but that's just me. Go on, Ben. I'm so sorry.
Well, that goes both ways. We can't say that he doesn't want to be on the show because we've never asked him. So that definitely goes both ways. But are any of the other metaverses, are they doing, could we contact Mark Zuckerberg and say, hey, you want to come on the Whine and Cheese show? It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't happen. So, I think there's that accessibility and that public facing thing. There's a lot of accountability at play there too. So, who these people are. There's literally hundreds of hours of, interview footage with these people where you can get a sense of who they are as personalities. Now, you might not like them, you might not like the way they do things or what they have to say, but you cannot deny that they are accessible and open to your feedback. So that's my number one reason. Do you have any, to wrap this up, do you have any like number one kind of overreaching bullet point?
I think the ones that we went over were all important equally, but community, I'd have to say, is really important because that's how you do your business. That's how you start anything, is reaching out to people, and like everybody starts somewhere. There's always somebody new. Like look in the new players chat. Ask around, hey, does anybody know Blender in here? Like, you could start something new with somebody new.
Yep. The possibilities are endless if you're willing to put the time and work in.